And good morning. Welcome to Williams Island TV. Today we have a very busy day, and we have lots of wonderful guests with us, things that you're going to hear to get you updated on what's happening on the island, and some of which will be answering some of the questions that people have asking as to why things have happened. And one of the changes that we've taken place that probably should have happened quite a while ago was we started implementing a little bit different type of security control in the spa. And there's the sign-in procedure. You all know Carrie Griffin, who runs our spa and health club. But more importantly, I want Carrie to explain a little bit about why we've implemented that and then go into more of the summer program, because we have some exciting things with the kids happening for the summer. And we have a lot of kids here.
We do have a lot of kids.
So explain first what the procedures are and why it's happening and what we're going to be doing with it.
Okay, so at the spa, for your safety and security, making sure that only members are coming in or guests that have registered with Joy, we are requiring a digital scan from your app, from your Williams Island app, to scan in, which automatically brings up your profile just to make sure that you are an active member. If you show up and you don't have your app or whatever, we'll give you instructions on how to download the application. But we will also ask you to print your name, and then we will pull up the profile at that time and make sure that everything's in order before we allow anybody into the facility.
So if I don't have a phone with me, you can still look up my record and see if I'm active and if I'm allowed to be in and I'm current and such. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons we've had to do this is we've had some incidences in the women's locker room, a couple of altercations, verbal and in some cases physical, one of which was a member who shouldn't have been there, another one was so and so forth. And the details aren't important. More importantly is we want to make sure that because there's such confusion on the island as to who is and isn't allowed to be there, we're clarifying all of those rules, whereas when you have a child that's living with you, you can keep them in membership up to a certain age, then what happens after that age. So we're addressing all those issues, but at this point, we want to make sure those people that are in the spa are legitimate members, are legitimate residents, or family members, so it leaves room for the residents and it doesn't open up for outsiders. And it's really for your safety, as unfortunately we had an incident that did occur. So that's what's going on. So please bear with us on the inconvenience. Eventually, it'll be very quick, very simple, but we do appreciate you conforming with it. More importantly now, let's talk about the... Oh.
Yes, but before we go on, I just want to thank everyone, because everyone has been incredible about following the policy. And they're thankful that we are doing it to make sure that everyone there is supposed to be there. And most of them have already downloaded the app, and found their digital card. We have scanners at the front desk. We have two scanners at the front desk. You just put your phone underneath, just like at any other health club that requires it. So it's easy, but I just really want to say thanks to everyone for making the transition easy, painless, and the front desk staff, as you know, is incredibly helpful. They understand how to help you and download the app and so forth. So they're there.
Has there been any issues over it? People complaining about it?
No, not really.
Great. Okay, now tell me about all your children.
Kids.
Kids.
A lot of kids.
We do, don't we?
So every Friday we have a soccer academy that is next to the gazebo behind the 4,000, in between the gazebo and the playground. Okay. Really, like 4 years old to 8 years old is because this space isn't that big. A wonderful coach and his staff. They're fabulous. So that's every Friday at 4:00. Then we have 3 kids cooking classes coming up. One in June, one in July, one in August.
Okay, wait, I have to stop you.
Yes.
What's the age on the cooking class? Because I may be interested.
I think you might age out.
I will. I'll age
out in that. But we'll teach them simple cooking, healthy juicing, things that all of the kids are doing anyway.
And where is this?
This will be in the spa, the aerobics room. We have a blender. Tatiana, our incredible nutritional coach, will be the one helping them on each one of these cooking classes. So please sign up for that. We have a youth swimming program. It's with Amanda, Aquafirm and Fit. She can go to your buildings from 0 to 100. She's a great coach. She's been doing this her entire life. She's incredibly safe, has all of the certifications needed, and we would just connect you with Amanda if you're interested in having your kids swim, especially during summer time. What else do we have? We have a fitness class starting June 8th in the aerobics room. Cece and or John will be the one teaching it. It'll be at 1 o'clock. It's ages 8 to 13 or 9 to 13 years old. Just look at the flyer. This is a complimentary fitness class to introduce kids to the gym, but in a very fun, with games and fun music. And Cece and John are really great and creative. So we welcome your kids to join us for that.
You know, I want to ask you, because we're getting a lot of young families now on the island.
Yes.
But we're also getting a lot of guys, as you mentioned, bulked up, fit, that want more.
A lot of fit people on this island.
Yeah.
Yes.
Total difference. It's amazing.
Yes, yeah, it's great.
So I do want to add, and it's in the preliminary stages now, but Carrie and I have started talking. We started talking with Jeff, of course, on this, etc., on how to expand, how to look into areas, create kids zones of areas where it will be safe for the children. So over the next period of time, over the next few meetings, we are going to start to discuss what we do to expand the spa, expand the locker rooms, expand the health and fitness facilities, but more importantly, facilities for the children.
Yes. That's a much needed place to have that's covered because inclement weather like we're having today. Very excited.
It is, and it's needed, and we've heard the people talk, and, you know, Carrie brought it to our attention, and we are definitely going to look into the options of what we can do to make that happen. So what other good things are happening?
I don't know. We're busy. We have a lot of great new members. Like you said, very active, young.
I must tell you, the therapy session, the area is amazing. How busy that place.
Yeah, the physical therapy is.
And then biostation seems to be doing much better.
Biostation is doing great. They're really busy. They're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And Angelica is very welcoming and will explain everything to you at the biostation. Sometimes they're upstairs doing protein shakes and so forth. So please come by, stop and visit them. The salon is busy. So yeah, it's great. Even though it's summer, there's like a little bit of a slowdown, but
yeah,
it's we're keeping on it.
And how's Carrie doing?
I'm doing great.
Look at that happy face. See, Carrie's never sure of what I'm going to ask her. But
never know.
I was promising I'll behave today. And we are. But anyway, I want to thank you. You've been amazing. We kid around a lot because we've known each other a long time, but professionally you do what a job. In fact, if we could bottle Carrie and put that personality and smile and attitude and professionalism into everybody, we'd have a very healthy club.
Very nice of you, Bob.
So,
thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll be right back. And we're back. This is a treat because this is something I don't know a lot about, but I think we all want to learn about this. It's something to do with the health. Obviously, Angelique is downstairs in the biostation. And one of the reasons the biostation is here is because of Angelique. Just letting you know, she's amazing, very knowledgeable, and very, very well respected. And trained with one of the best doctors I found out, Dr. Gibstein. But today we want to talk a little about, and I have to ask you, before we talk about IV, tell me a little about peptides. I hear so much about.
Yes, well, one of our peptides right now, the star of the show, is semaglutide. A lot of people are using it for losing weight. That opened the gate for a lot of other peptides, but there are so many in the market. It all depends what do you need. Each peptide is specific of your needs. So for example, if you want to lean out, that's something that you can use a peptide, say JC, that help you to burn that fat and put out muscle. while you're sleeping. So there are many peptides. It all depends what you need and what are your goals aiming for.
Wonderful. Okay, I was just wondering because you hear so much about peptides.
Absolutely.
And I know about semaglutide, but there's others. There's things for nerves, there's things for burning fat, there's things
Yes,
for...
yes, they are healing peptides. It's called BPC 157. For example, if you have shoulder pain, knee pain, you can inject that and it will help you to recuperate faster in a faster
That's like an
manner.
anti-inflammatory peptide.
Correct. Yes. Even though you can use it in capsules, it will heal your gut.
Interesting. So with that, we go to IV therapy. Because a lot of people are asking us, what is IV therapy? What's in the IV? How long it takes? Is there any downside to it? So first of all, what is IV therapy?
Okay. So as you see in the hospitals, the first thing you do is hydration, right? Once you arrive, they put you vital signs, and then they give you a big bag, and they put it as an IV. IV, it means intravenous. It goes straight to you, to your arm, to your vein, and that liquid goes straight to your bloodstream. So that means it's 100% absorbable, and it bypasses your stomach. So it doesn't need to be in your stomach, so it bypasses. So the medication or whatever that they put in the IV bag, it goes 100% and it's straight to your bloodstream. So it's like 100% cure, effectively.
So, okay, on that note though, so when you say it goes 100% to the bloodstream, does that mean it gets to the affected areas directly? Is that what that's doing?
That's what it means.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. So in those IV bags, we can put vitamins, nutrients, amino acids. It all depends what your body needs as well.
And how do you determine what's going to be in there?
For example, you come in from a Europe trip and you are a little bit jet lagging. So I will give you a big complex IV that has from B1 to B6, and that some amino acids that your body needs in order to fuel yourself again, and that will recuperate as lot faster than 3 days or 4 days feeling a little bit kind of oozy and feeling
So it's a mix of the B's.
It all depends. So there is another one for beauty that we have. It's full of vitamin C that everybody knows that it's a very strong antioxidant, and it has glutathione on it. So it goes through the bloodstream, and your face will look very kind of shiny, radiant, and it helps you because it's an antioxidant.
So if Bob Shelley comes down to your office and I say, I'd like to go through some of this IV treatment, but do you determine between us what the goal is?
Yes.
Or do you do blood tests to see where the deficiencies are?
We can do it 2 different ways. In biostation, we do have labs, some IVs that we need lab work because they're more specific to you. They have more milligram of the vitamins or nutrients. There are other ones that, for example, if you can walk in and you just don't feel it yourself, we can do it right away and you don't need labs. So we have the 2 different ones. Yes.
Interesting, because you hear so much about it. How long does an IV take?
About 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, okay.
That runs about, it all depends on your hydration status. I see a lot of people that are playing tennis and they come so dehydrated from like working out because the sun is too, they get very dehydrated. So they come to my office and they can take an IV in 45 minutes because they're super dehydrated.
So it is good for hydration.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. And how does it affect the immune system?
Okay, so we have an IV that it was very popular in December because we had a lot of COVID cases, unfortunately, and flu around, and people traveled. So we have one specific IV is called Be Immune that has zinc on it, vitamin B6 complex, which all these compounds make a cocktail, and it goes straight to your bloodstream. So that is strengthening the immune system again.
So that it's geared though specifically for the immune system.
Correct.
But how do you, if I come to you, is that something you would take if I'm getting ready to travel, let's say?
Yes, absolutely.
Or if I get back from travel?
Absolutely. I have patients that they say, well, Angelica, I'm going into a trip and I always get sick. What would you recommend? So I always tell them, come 3 days before your trip and then come 3 days after your trip. And they are surprised. They don't get sick, and they are mind blowing because they are like, "Oh, I always get sick, and now I feel great after my trip." So it's something that they can do before or after.
Does it help with fatigue and
Yes, we have. Remember, chronic fatigue is lack of nutrients and minerals sometimes. So if with the proper labs, we can replace those minerals that you're missing out. So we can do it. And also there something that people don't know, we do chelation. Do you know what is chelation?
no?
Okay. So chelation is a therapy that it will take out heavy metals out of your body.
Yes, okay.
In case that you have heavy metal intoxication, if you're losing it.
So it's like detoxing.
Exactly. It's detoxifying your body. It's a beautiful therapy because I've seen so many different outcomes with that because people get very tired, they're very fatigued, they're not feeling right. We do lab work, which show us what kind of heavy metals are you having, and then we do the chelation therapy, and they feeling again themselves.
And obviously, there's a benefit to the skin from all of this.
Oh yeah, one of my biggest IVs that I always give in my office is glutathione. Glutathione is one of the strongest antioxidants, and it's just beautiful. It helps with your skin, in nails, hair. Your skin changes so much with glutathione.
What about joint issues? You know, a lot of guys, as they get older, they have torn meniscus, they have this. Was it glucosamine, chondroitin? I mean, is there some kind of IV therapy for the joint pains and for...
Absolutely, but I think it's the most important part of that therapy is to find out what is causing the inflammation. So for that, I always recommend lab work. I don't like to proceed if we don't have the proper lab work. That would be my recommendation, and from there, we can take it.
So I guess with all of these options, and it's amazing, I'm sure there's numerous ones, I come to you, we do blood work.
Yes.
Decide I need X, Y, and Z, I don't need this, and you put together your cocktail of what I do need.
Yes.
Obviously, it's not just going to be one time, what it sounds like. You have to go on some kind of a regimen for a while anyhow.
For a while.
Is this an expensive process?
I don't think so. I think biostation has two different options for people that has insurance, for other people that doesn't have insurance. So for insurance, the blood work we cover almost 100%. You need to pay for the consultation. We work with you. Even though if you don't have insurance, we will always ask you the better way that we can get you into the therapy. Obviously, the therapy, it all depends what do you need, but you don't have to do it forever. Like, for example, let's say that most of the people have deficiency of vitamin D. If we put in this, so it will be for a couple of months, and then it will be kind of maintenance.
Now, when you say a couple of months, that's once a week for a couple of months or every day?
Every day.
Every day?
For supplements, sometimes you have to take it every day
that's all
until
IV?
you... No.
Oh, some can be...
Orally,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But the IV is what, periodically?
Oh, no, the IV, you can do it as a maintenance. You can do it. It all depends. If you're doing chelation, yes, we need a different 3 times a week. It all depends what you're looking for. Like that, the therapy will be effective.
And how costly is something like this?
You will be surprised. It's not expensive. No.
So I guess when you're dealing with help, it's priceless because it doesn't really matter what it costs.
Absolutely.
You're taking care of your health and you're doing all this wonderful stuff for your body.
Imagine you walking into the urgent care, right? Because you're feeling dehydrated.
Right.
You will end up with $300 bill, right? Some of the times it doesn't cover, the insurance doesn't cover, but you just walk in right few miles from your house, walk in here in a beautiful office, and you can get an IV for $120. We should do the same.
Well, I wanted Angelica to be with us today because it is amazing what we have here on the island. Biostation is not only what people think it is. It's a myriad of so many different things that can be done. You heard last week some of the other things you do with face, with injectables. But I think this is almost more important because this is fixing the body from the inside out.
Absolutely.
And what do you do to yourself? You don't have a wrinkle on your face. You look healthy. You look great. You're glowing. What do you do?
Thank you.
We want to know what your secret is.
Say JC, I do hormonal replacement therapy because I'm in perimenopause, unfortunately. So I do hormonal replacement therapy, AJC, which is I like to work out, so that give me a faster recovery. Pregnenolone is a hormone that most of the people are neglected, so please check if your pregnenolone in a really normal level. It's a memory hormone. So
That's what I need. Now we know what I need.
so it's very important to know if you are in the normal levels. So I replace that. That's it. A lot of love and care.
So what we're saying is this is living proof that it all works.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It all works.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Visit the biostation, and we're not trying to sell any business because we don't make a dime from it, but we want you to use it for your health, for your welfare. It just fits all part of what we do here on the island with the spa, with the health and fitness. And of course, this is such a preventative as well as something that can continue.
Yeah, absolutely. In summer, we are going to have a really nice promotion for new members. It's going to be $60 for the first IV. If you never have tried like an IV before in your life, for $60, you will be able to do it in a beautiful office with me. I will be able to explain you what is the therapy about. So just come and visit me.
So we have a few people on this island that have a few cocktails at dinner, but in the morning they wake up, they need something to get them going. I'm assuming you have something great for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So come and visit.
Well, I have some people I'm going to send to you. Me needing one of them.
Okay.
Well, again, Angela, I can't thank you enough for being with us.
you.
Thank you for what you do for the island.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back. And we're back. And of course, we don't need an introduction for this gentleman. And I use that word. Well, we won't use that word. Jeff. But Jeff is our amazing CEO, COO, and he runs this whole operation for us. But there's a couple of questions that we've been asked and things that are going on here. As everyone knows, we're opening up pretty soon. When I say pretty soon, probably whether it's December, January, we're going to find out shortly. But more importantly, people are asking who's going to run it. How's the operation going to be? Not the construction end of it, but once the doors open, we're going to have a new restaurant. Is it going to be open 2 days, 5 days, 3 days? And a lot of this is going to be hit and miss. We don't know yet. The most important question we're being asked is, there's rumors, who's going to be the chef over there? And I figure this is as good a time of any to discuss it because the new individual that we've hired starts next week.
Yeah, so first and foremost, thanks for having me on the show. It's always great. I love that you never give me my questions ahead of time and you put me on the spot. But yeah, we're super excited about the Island Club project, and thanks to the construction team led by John and our partners at RCC and Stice, the project's moving really, really well. We're super excited. But all the brick and the mortar doesn't necessarily impact change. Yes, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to be this brand new facility. But Thaddeus and I, along with Deborah and the team, have been out really looking for the best people to really make an impactful change to that venue. So I'm very blessed and we're very fortunate to announce that we are bringing on Gabe Fenton to be the executive chef of the Island Club project. You know Gabe very well as a long-term Aventura resident and a super guest of Bourbon Steak. Gabe and I have had the pleasure of working together for many years. He was the opening chef of Bourbon Steak Miami. So he's been at that project for well over 17 years. And Gabe was looking for change, both for family, lifestyle, and opportunity to do more and make another impact. And what a better place than to have your own brand new restaurant, clean canvas. So Gabe's coming on board next week. He's going to help us create the sort of the plan for that venue. We anticipate operating Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday brunch, could be more. The pool restaurant will operate 7 days a week. And as like everything else on Williams Island, as we learn what's best for the residents, we will ebb and flow.
So in other words, that restaurant under Gabe, which is fantastic because his reputation is great, that restaurant will be separate and autonomous from what we're doing here. It'll be a totally different type of menu, operation, style, elegance, whatever you want to call it. So Abe will start now in June. He'll, I'm assuming, get involved here, meet all the people, start working on it, and work with Thaddeus. Will he have the autonomy to put together with, obviously, you and Thaddeus, the menu? And if so, what's the concept that he foresees so far?
Yeah,
If
so-
it's not too premature to ask.
No, it's not. And yeah, full autonomy. I mean, when you hire a chef like Gabe, you want the talent to come in and help us navigate. So, Gabe resigned from his position several months ago. He joins us next week. We've been speaking with him, meeting with him weekly prior to his arrival. We are leaning towards a Mediterranean chop house concept, something very coastal. So great fish, great chops, great steaks, great salads, higher ticket price. So average check slightly higher than the Island Grill, smaller restaurant. Friday night, Saturday night, like the best restaurant in Aventura will be, I won't tell you the name because
No,
that's
don't tell
a
me.
surprise. But Gabe and Thaddeus together will take this blank canvas and create one of Aventura's greatest restaurants for the residents.
So will he not only have that, but obviously that same kitchen is going to produce all the food for the daytime?
Yes.
Will he be part of that as well?
Yeah, he'll be part of creating all the menus. And when he gets here next week, Gabe's got to get indoctrinated into the Williams Island culture.
Sure.
He'll spend time at the Island Grill. He'll work with the culinary staff here. You'll probably get to see some specials that would be part of the menu build for the future. Having two kitchens is obviously great because we can
Oh, yeah.
do a lot of testing here and feed a lot of people and get some feedback before we even open. So Gabe will use this platform at the Island Grill to help build the future menu build out for the new restaurant at the Island Grill, along with the pool restaurant.
Well, I have to tell you how I found out about this. I'm having dinner at Bourbon maybe a month ago, and, Annabelle, manager, comes over and says, "Congratulations, I hear our chef is going to you." I said, "This is news to me. I have no idea." And he thought, of course, I was just saying that. But the truth of the matter is, this has been very quiet because obviously we didn't want to interrupt, and it was his choice to leave there first.
Yeah, look, Gabe has done a phenomenal job. I mean, 17 years is a long time in the same building, in the same restaurant. And, he made Bourbon Steak one of the best restaurants, if not the best restaurant.
Very consistent,
in
too.
Aventura,
Yes.
consistent. But, similar to me, he was looking for a change from the day-to-day grind in a hotel where the doors never shut and the operation never closed. And he dabbled a little bit into pool operations and casual dining there. But Gabe's got two young kids that he wants to be able to go and watch baseball games and coach baseball and travel with his wife, who's, in the food and beverage industry and does really well.
So this gives him...
And this gives him the opportunity to have a professional growth in his career, as well as be a more present father and husband.
So it's interesting because, when we started the project, God knows how many years ago this was, the biggest question is, what do you do with that dining room? Because we've never really made it a success. We've tried so many different things. But the one thing we never had was an independent chef, somebody who was there 100% to dedicate his time and intellect to utilizing it to create something exciting and then be consistent with it. And this will be a first.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a first time
and
we
this
had this.
this also gives Gabe the opportunity to work for a great company, dabble in the world of country club, and grow. I mean, our goal for Gabe is to ultimately run the culinary platform for Williams Island, modify, change.
I mean, it's got to be exciting for a chef to come in and just start from scratch and create his own ideas and his own thought process, food, menus, all this.
Yeah. We're excited. I know
Oh,
he's
sure.
excited. I know he's probably nervous. I mean, these are guests that don't ever go away, right? The residents live here, so they're your biggest fan on Thursday and sometimes your worst enemy on Saturday.
But they're here the
But they're
year
here
round.
and they're supportive, and our goal is to create a dining experience that is on par with Bourbon Steak, Avra, Surf Club. And like the best way to explain it is taking the best of those three restaurants and creating our own concept
yeah.
that will have evolution, right? The beauty of Williams Island is what we do for 6 months doesn't have to be what we do for the next 6 months. I mean, you're here all the time, so our evolution is really important. And that's what we're most excited about bringing Gabe on, because he's nimble.
And you know, the part of this that you said, and it's true, you can spend all the money in the world building something, but it still has to operate at a successful level.
Yeah, the single greatest investment we can make is in the human.
Absolutely.
The human resource. And bringing Gabe on, and then building a team underneath Gabe, and then using CY and Juanita and probably some additional food and beverage leadership to go over and operate. We're really excited about it. The other thing it does is it allows Thaddeus to really become more global in food and beverage and not so chef oriented. Success of this operation, you need a guy like Thaddeus that's going to be in the front of the house just as much as the back of the house, working on the deli just as much as the grill. So bringing on a top talent like Gabe lets the top talent in Thaddeus really...
Well, they help each other.
Yeah. So
Well, that's exciting. We look forward to it. On another note, totally different. I realize FP&L came in and destroyed half of what we completed. And we do apologize, because this is not something that was planned by any means. We do have Hotwire working. You're going to tell us about it.
Yeah.
FP&L gave us no notice, told us absolutely zero about when they were coming, what they were going to do. And all of a sudden we have holes all over the streets and they're patching it with this awful stuff. And we do want to apologize for that. But we and the city had nothing to do with it. It was an FP&L decision that had to be made to upgrade certain electrical issues.
Yeah, so as a response, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a power surge that a few buildings lost power. This was the response to that. So allegedly they're adding some redundancy to the island. So short-term pain, long-term gain. We're not exactly happy with the way they finished it. We're working with Mass Tech and FPL to see if we can get them to clean up some of that work. But simultaneously, we're being equally as disruptive as we build the infrastructure for Hotwire. And we're on schedule, which is great. I know we're starting to move into the building shortly. Some buildings have already had some internal work, and we are on schedule for that May-June turnover of 2025.
Right.
Where Hotwire comes in and becomes the primary provider of fiber optics, internet, cable, etc. So all is going as planned. Yes, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of dust, some dead flowers, but our promise to you, the board, and the community is once these things are fixed, we'll bring Williams Island back to the beautiful landscape and everything else that it was prior to the disruption.
Well, I understand you're good at disrupting things, but now you have to fix it.
Well, that's why you hired me, Bob.
That's right.
You brought me in to be a disruptor.
That's right.
Let me do my thing, and I'm here 2+ years, and I'm having a great time.
Well, it's funny because when Jeff came in, he made the comment, Williams Island is a diamond in the rough that needs polishing. But on the other side of it, Jeff was also a diamond in the rough that needed polishing. And I don't say that in a derogatory way. It's because when somebody comes into a new job, they have great talent, but it's a different operation. And over there, you'd have issues. 3 days later, the people would leave and you never see them again. Here you have issues, and 3 days later, the people are still here. And you really changed a lot about the way you are, because you had to change your personality, not so much drastically, but to adjust to the fact that you have the same people 365 days a year to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, in a hotel, you're eager to fix quickly.
Correct.
Because you want the guests to see the immediate change. Here, I've learned from somebody, I won't mention any names, it's better to tell people you'll look into it than it is to tell them you'll fix it immediately.
Right.
So, sure, I'm 2 years wiser, I'm 2 years older, I'm a little more calm than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
But to be honest, I think the team has really adapted.
Yes.
And, I don't know what it was 5 years ago and 10 years ago, but the team we have around the table today is super. And they all take ownership in their disciplines. And, it makes my life very easy.
And it's interesting because other than maybe Thaddeus and a few miscellaneous food and beverage people, the staff that was here when you got here is primarily the same staff. Maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit more efficient because of your help, obviously. But we've had a great crew to begin with, isn't it?
Yeah, and when I got here, you handed me this 400-page document on a survey. And the biggest takeaway on that survey was that food and beverage was the lacking entity on the island.
Right.
while spa and facilities and security needed refinement, they didn't need a whole lot of change. So our focus was rebuilding the food and beverage platform, bringing Thaddeus in. Now we're bringing Gabe in. So we all of a sudden have all the departments playing at the same level, and we see it on a regular basis. The level of calls that come in now are de minimis compared to where they were 2 years ago. Complaints are more broad than they are specific to food and beverage only. But we live in a world where feedback is really important, and we ask for it. The only way we know how to get better at Williams Island is by the residents who are experiencing it to share it with us. Right. We love it to be in a constructive manner. We don't play well with the disrespect and the condescending feedback. But when you share with us the great feedback that's constructive, this team responds, and we typically fix right away, or we address the situation, get the root cause, and make sure we fix it once for the long term.
Well, it's amazing how much has happened in the last 2 years between security, the construction, and of course, one of the reasons we thought you would be so valuable to this job would because you've had experience with construction, running projects. And we're going to meet somebody in a few minutes who is, let's call it the construction side of things, you the operational side. But there's no way you can do a project that we were planning on doing if we don't have construction and operations work unanimously as one. Because if they're bifurcated and they work in separate directions, the project will never succeed, because you're going to build a kitchen that doesn't work, you're going to build a pool that doesn't work. And so you have to have the marriage. And what you brought to the table from the operational side, and we won't mention who's coming on in a few minutes, on the construction side, it's an amazing team. And what you guys have accomplished is beyond. And I don't think the people on the island would really appreciate, because I mentioned this before, we have more talent on this island than the island really actually realizes. You know, we have close to 5,000 people that live here. But on just our board of directors, if you look at the resumes of the people that we have on that board that lead this island, they're brilliant. Some of these people are the most successful in their field of endeavor.
Yeah, you also have a board that truly cares about the island. They're
absolutely.
They're not just taking up a seat to say they sit on the board.
No.
I mean, when you look around that table, almost every board member is involved in some sort of project committee outside of the board. And the expertise and the knowledge, both professionally and historically at Williams Island. I mean, you do a project at the Island Club, that's a 40-year-old building that has its own history.
Right.
And we've uncovered a lot of that history. Good news is we haven't found any bodies, but we've uncovered a lot of the history. And having the board and the board involvement and the construction committee has not only made the project successful, but it's actually both educational and fun. You know, I've been involved in over $1 billion worth of renovations and construction, but never to the level that I've been on this project, and never to the level of learning as I've been on this project, because of the expertise around the table, both from the Williams Island team, the owners rep in Stice, the RCC team, the architects, etc. I mean, it's been a hell of a team that's been putting this together, and we're super excited about what's going to be delivered sometime in season.
Well, we know you'll get there. Anyway, I don't want to delay this, because we have somebody coming with us now that's going to give us a lot of explanations, a lot of answers, and deserves tremendous credit for what's been accomplished.
Absolutely.
Your partner in crime, obviously. Jeff, thanks so much. As always,
thanks,
this is one of the best decisions this island has made.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to welcome you all. Today I want to introduce you to someone who probably most of you may know at the bar, at the restaurant, but not realize what he does on the island for us. And the reason I asked John Fells to be with us, John is the other half of the Jeff John team, so to speak, in terms of the construction, building, oversight, management, and let's say value engineering of a $20 million project for the island. And there's not many people that can accomplish what they've accomplished. But a little background on John. John and I go back more years than we like to think about. We've had more experiences than we can talk about on television. But we were also healthy competition for many years growing up in the business. We were both in construction, both in home building. The difference is John had this amazing gift for gab. He could sell anything. A poor guy would walk in and buy a house, and by the time he was done, the house was twice as much. between the marble, the granite countertops, and the pool. But more importantly, he knows construction. He knows quality control, which is very important. He lives on the island. He's been board member. He's been a representative of the 6,000 building. John's experiences are amazing. He was a builder for many, many years. Then he was bought out or merged with a public building company. And then he was smart enough to take his money and go home and go into other areas of endeavor in construction. And then he got lonely and he didn't know what to do with himself. And we just happened to have a little project that was going on. John was on the construction committee, was not the chair of the committee, but unfortunately the chair of the committee had some health issues and John volunteered to take over many years ago. Started this project, I think it was 5 years ago. It's been in the works, working conversation. But he's one of these gentlemen that we have, that we talk about on the island, that has this talent that's amazing. And without it, could never have done this kind of a project. When we met with the banks to get the money, when we get the financing, when we met with the team that was going to put it together, we had somebody that could speak from experience with respect, because that's the key to what we have out there. You've got hundreds of people running around out there working, building, oversight, survey companies, construction companies, engineers. And yet between John and Jeff, they put together a team that actually has kept this on track, kept it within budget, kept it within a tight schedule. And we anticipate, and we're not going to promise, but we do anticipate last quarter of this year, first quarter of next year, you will be seeing one of the most magnificent projects that we've ever completed. The problem I'm worried about is, what is John going to do with himself? So we do have some meetings coming up pretty soon, because we have to find work for John. He gets lonely, he gets bored, and gets in trouble. And his wife called me and said, please find another project for John. But anyway, enough about it. John, I want to thank you. You know that. You're amazing. But tell us where we are with the project. Give us a little bit of an update, because there's so many questions that are asked, and it's better coming from you.
And first of all, you've always been very kind with your words and very supportive, and we appreciate that. It means a lot that you've made us feel like partners in the project rather than just diligent workers and worker bees. It's a very exciting project. And only to correct one thing, I've been a member of the board for a decade, off and on, and the chairman of the construction committee since the very beginning. The spa, the grill, the gatehouse, and now the Island Club. Left for a little bit for Ron Kells,
Okay, you're right.
who's a terrific gentleman, and unfortunately had a little bit of a health setback, and I was only too happy to come in and take on this project. One thing I wanted to share, because you and Jeff were talking about a little while ago, and you very much were the inspiration for bringing this level of professional talent. And now you can see the depth in the organizational chart that you've been able to achieve between Thomas and Thaddeus. And I'm as excited about Gabe as anybody. One of the problems we had here on this project specifically is we were dealing with a series of turnover within our food and beverage leadership. So as we built this project, as we conceptualized the outcomes, as we try to manage schedules and budgets, every food and beverage manager that came in here had their own concept of what this place should be. And it was a very challenging, costly, time-consuming experience. The benefit we have at the Island Club is we're dealing with an operator with depth of knowledge, knows the specifics of what's important, understands the priorities of the residents, knows what's going to work, knows what's not going to work. It gives us a much clearer focus and a much better sense of leadership within each and every meeting we have. And Jeff has a unique humility where he also continues to give everybody else their say. He's very inclusive in the process, and it's worked to our advantage. I will say that the project is, for the most part, on schedule. We are anticipating a winter 24 substantial completion. We are doing very well and very close to the original promised budgets. There are areas of concern, not so much construction, sticks and bricks we know. Those discussions, every day there's a new challenge, and we can manage those with the help of our consultants, Edge of Architecture, RCC, and Stice as our owner's rep. The problem is there are areas beyond our control, which is something that's often a challenge and can be very cumbersome. I think everybody knows that the Island Club is an island. What they don't appreciate is the proximity of land to water. And there's a regulatory oversight agency called DERM, Department of Engineering Resource Management, and they really control what we can do with the connection. So there is, for example, all kinds of foliage and trees and vegetation that we have very careful oversight as to what we can move, what we can eliminate, what we have to mitigate. That discussion alone has caused delays that we can't even communicate, challenges, upset, budget concerns. At this point, we have that pretty much under control. I would even go a step further and say now we have to deal with the Department of Health. And this is all beyond sticks and bricks. So where we are doing something as simple as enlarging a pool, we need to get all of their approvals. If we're adding sinks in a kitchen just for our staff to be a little bit more available to, be able to wash their hands on the line, all these little additions to a construction project that really are not things that the residents are ever going to understand or appreciate need to be approved, examined. Again, it imposes, unfortunately, delays, and those are areas of inspection that we never control the outcome. Life safety, most people think that's just a matter of a fire alarm, but life safety also has an involvement in egress lighting, the way we leave the building should the building lose power. We've been working on light fixtures for life safety now for 6 months. All those fixtures now have to be sourced. They have to be tied into Lutron panels. Those panels take 16 to 20 weeks to identify and have delivered. These are all areas of challenge that none of us would have ever really appreciated if we didn't have someone like Jeff on board helping us through the experience he's had at places like Turnberry and Fontainebleau. There are areas of licensing requirement that, to tell you the truth, here at the Island Grill, we didn't pursue and really identify until the very end of the project. And it did cost us some time. I would tell you that Jeff, to his credit, is working on that now. It's making the outcome and the scheduling a little bit more predictable. And that's why we can share, obviously, with a bit of optimism, and reservation that we're going to be done this winter. And our budget should be a stone's throw from what was originally promised.
That's great. And it's amazing. You talk about all these complexities, all these little things. People have no idea about it. It's like you go to a Broadway show. The average guy wants to sit in the theater, wants to see the curtain go up, wants to see the show, and he doesn't want to know what's going on behind the scenes to make that show take place. And it's the same thing. As much as you're working and killing yourself for years to get this done, Mrs. Jones is going to walk there, and if there's some kind of cracked tile, she's not going to know about the 2 years of hard work you did. She's going to say, look at this. They did this whole project and the tile is still cracked.
Yeah,
that's human nature.
It's very true. Most people perceive that the role of the construction committee, albeit advisory, and we've got a great group, 2 current board members, George and Richard, along with Jay Eichel and Miles Cutler and Lila Goldberg and Jeff Kostrich. It's a nice team of people. Everybody is very collegial and very collaborative. Many of those folks are giving their time to attend a lot of these meetings and participate in these conversations. But the perceived role of a construction committee is really to help guide Jeff from a value engineering perspective. And when I say value engineering, it's not just a matter of making things less expensive. It really is identifying the areas where the residents will appreciate a dollar spent and trying to be more aggressive in saving dollars in areas that the residents will never enjoy. So the finishes, the tile, the millwork, the kitchen experience, the pool deck, especially the FF&E are areas that we're much more sensitive to not just try to be cute, but try to be impactful where the residents are really going to touch, feel, experience, and enjoy. There are other areas of the project where we have been brutal, very consistently aggressive. Certainly all of our consultants know that we're going to be challenging on any change orders or any dollars.
Let me interrupt you on that because that raises a very interesting point. If it wasn't a you and a Jeff combination that didn't know, the outcome could be drastically different because obviously, as you just said, you can be aggressive because when they suggest, you know the truth, you know the facts. It's not that to try to do things or cut corners, but you do know, based on the operational standpoint of it with Jeff, what's really needed, how it should be done. So I would have to believe that that level of respect that the contractors have for our team and you and Jeff makes a difference to the outcome.
Yeah, well, it never fails that you get involved in a renovation of a 40-year-old structure, you're going to find things that we were never prepared for. We carried a very large contingency for your recommendation. And every time we opened a wall or dug into the ground or looked inside, we found upsets and challenges that we never anticipated we were experienced. Jeff and I have qualified certain terms where we use some of the dollars added as owner imposed versus owner directed. When we first got involved in the job and we started taking the walls down, we saw rusted metal. We saw, air conditioning ducts that were mold and mildew after years of water intrusion. We found concrete remediation, leaking drain pipes. There was a lot more to the reconstruction than we ever would have imagined. But to our credit, and really to our benefit, where we responded to those issues, instead of just patching a roof, which was part of the original scope, this building is going to have a new roof. Instead of just leaving impact windows and storefront glass on the clubhouse restaurant side of the building, which is adjacent to the pool, we decided that the ballroom deserved that same kind of impression and improvement. There have been areas throughout the course of construction that we've made those kind of decisions, and we don't take those lightly. All of the committee has been involved. Jeff made the comment before that we will say we should do this, we should do this, we should do that, but it's Jeff's idea. And much to his credit, he gets it. I wouldn't put that type of pressure, and that's why I sit and say this job is going to be much more effective. The outcome is going to be much better from an operational sense. Jeff already knows how to animate the space. He's now bringing the team in. He's talking about how it's going to be utilized. I see him sitting in the rooms looking at different vistas, and he's looking at the water, and he's challenging how the kitchen is going to address the pool deck and how we're going to operate the restaurant if the ballroom is busy in the ballroom, if the restaurant is closed. These are all questions that need to be asked while you're doing the project rather than after the fact and then having to go back and make the changes.
I'm just picturing the room being done, operation is open, and there's John having his cocktail at the bar, looking around and saying, wow, look what we did.
I get the same sense of pride when I come into the grill. And I'm here often. It's an extension of our home. The residents here deserve this kind of improvement. It's the last bit of real estate that we really have to address, at least knowing it's the last bit of real estate we can.
We may have a surprise for you, but
I'm hoping you always do, and I need something to do next year.
I know that. And believe me, I wasn't kidding when I said Fern called and said, please find him a job.
I'm looking forward to it.
But no, it's interesting because, and not to keep talking about the two of you, but it is a marriage made in heaven that you can never really imagine will happen or not happen because you don't know. You can have teams put together. But let me ask you a question. We know how you and Jeff work because it's like one voice. Explain, some people ask me, what does the owner's rep do in relationship to what you guys do?
It's a smart question. An owner's rep is a very prudent level of oversight to have in this type of community. They have a role as fiduciaries. They have a way of helping the administration, the communication of information. They do a lot of the follow-up on paperwork. And where we've had critical challenges on the job, they bring experience from a number of different projects that they're working on in South Florida. One of the things we were careful of, and you recall when you first brought RCC, the general contractor, to the project, is that they brought a sense of hospitality sensitivity that they had really earned through years of doing restaurant projects and hospitality venues. Our owner's rep has a similar level of experience, and they bring that understanding. So where we need access to, I was talking about the Department of Health, we had phone conversations where they can dial up these people and get them on the line in minutes where it would take us days and maybe worse. They have an understanding of what the sensitivity of a certain space or certain level of improvement might mean. They're constantly reminding us of where we stand on schedule, where we stand on budget. They're an essential part of a project like this. And we've learned through the years that having that additional level of oversight adds a more professional experience for all of the other consultants. They understand how to manage the edge of architecture relationship. They understand how to bring the engineering scope into that same, simple way of managing through the dimensions of the project. They've done a very good job as far as I'm concerned, and I would, we've recommended them to other projects on the island. A lot of the buildings on the island are going through their 40-year inspections. And STICE is a group that they have Connor and Chris that work with us regularly. Brian, only when we need him. But they've done a very nice job, and they're essential.
Well, and I want to clarify because you said something that is very important. Really, the internal Williams Island team would be a Jeff, a John, and our owner's rep. Because one of the reasons we bring an owner's rep in is, number one, fiduciary responsibility to our residents. We are not the decision makers alone. We don't feel that we should be. We bring in a company like SICE that's going to be the ones that really take our ideas and make them happen on a day-to-day level within budget, within programming, within operations. But really, that's the third leg of the team, isn't it?
Yep.
The internal team.
Very, very much so. We're, as you were saying before, we're very lucky that we have within our committee folks that have decades of experience in sticks and bricks. And, many of them are being very generous and volunteering the kind of time they do. But when you have an owner's rep that's getting compensated based on the outcome of a project and has a responsibility to perform, and handle that, add that professionalism to each meeting and really to the presentations we make to the board and to the residents monthly, it's a very smart way to approach a job like this. I think it would be borderline irresponsible for us if we didn't have that.
No question. Before I let you go, we know what you're doing. We know what you're accomplishing. But I don't know that people really know a lot about John Fell's background and how you got to this level. I always say, us guys at stage in life we're in, you spend your life, you work up to a certain level of expertise in a career, and then you retire. What do you do with it? Sometimes we're blessed to be able to give back what we imparted, what we have learned over these years. Even so, there's no compensation, but I know a lot about your past, obviously, because we worked together over the years throughout in some of the same areas. Why don't you tell us a little about John Fell's career and how you got to this point where you are today? Brag a little bit, because I know, but I think it would be a great addition so people understand the quality, like we've talked about how qualified some of the people are on the board. Tell us about John Fell's.
I haven't really talked about myself in a long time, obviously, and we know each other as home builders.
Right.
I graduated the University of Florida in the mid-'70s, College of Architecture, a degree in building construction. Went to work locally and founded and presided over a small regional builder, Brookman Fells, for about 2 decades, and built a lot of the communities in South Miami, Pinecrest, and many up here in North Miami Beach. Oak Forest, Coventry, Presidential, Country Club Estates. I mean, I can go on and on. In many of those communities, I made many friends that became repeat customers, and we have a lot of those folks actually living in Williams
the island. I know
very
them.
nice
Yes.
for me. In the mid-'90s, I got very involved in local associations. I became the president of the South Florida Home Builders Association. I did that twice. I received a lot of attention, a lot of press, and we were identified and acquired by a public company, Wall Street public company called Avatar. And although it was without anticipation, I became their president, where I remained for about 12 years. And we became national home builders, so we were able to take what we were doing locally on a national level. Fascinating challenge. I had the opportunity to build high-rises, Ocean Palms up in Hollywood, large-scale communities, harbor islands, also in Hollywood. We did active adult communities in Central Florida, 10,000 homes at Sola Vida with 200,000 square feet of infrastructure, amenity improvement. It was a great experience. I retired in 2010 and moved into Williams Island. I had lived in Island Estates for the decade
Remember
before.
that.
And you sit and for those of us who feel that we have something to give back, again, we've been blessed. I've been a very lucky guy. But there's a way of remaining relevant and staying current. And I tell people that's why I enjoy doing it. When I get the opportunity to work with someone like Jeff and a professional team and a great board with great leadership, it makes all of this much more fulfilling. On another end, I also have to share that I have a wife that I'm going to be married to for 50 years next year.
Wow.
I was hoping that Bob can find another opportunity for me.
So you'll last another
we
50.
Make it to 50. I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren. It's I'm a blessed soul. I spend some months in California, not so much this year because of, the project. But I appreciate that. I haven't talked about myself in a long time.
Well, that's why I wanted people to hear from you. It's impressive. And people don't really realize, they say, oh, John Feld, he's been in construction. It's more than just been in construction. It's like we talk about Jeff. He just happened to run a hotel, but the $1 billion of renovation that goes on between the Fontainebleau and Turnberry, there's a lot of experience there. So I do want to thank you. There's not enough thanks for you. And the island appreciates it, and we all.
And there is enough thanks. The thanks we get is being able to come in here and see a staff. We get treated so wonderfully. Very grateful for Williams Island and the experience of living here. I think there are so many of us who really do appreciate what you've done, the board's done, and I appreciate the kind words always.
Yeah. And thank you so much. And thank you. We'll be right back. Well, as I promised you in the beginning, we've had an amazing group of people today, and now you understand what it takes to create a village. And we are a village of great talent, great accomplishments, and as you see as you walk around, the things that are going on. This is only the beginning. We have a lot more exciting projects scheduled to come up. We do want to ask you one thing. Please be courteous. Please be kind. We've had some incidences on the island between residents, and we don't want to have grievance. We don't want to have those kind of issues taking place. We would rather everyone just live, enjoy, and have what they have. I want to thank all the people that have been with us today. It's been amazing. And even I get to learn when I listen to some of the people and what we have to offer here between biostation and the accomplishments of John Fels and Jeff Klein and Carrie and the spa and biostations, intravenous and IVs. And just the beautiful island that we have. We live in a bubble and enjoy our bubble, enjoy our homes, enjoy everything we here to offer you, and have a wonderful, safe summer. This summer, May will be our last board meeting. We will not have one in June and July, but we will have one in August. But we will have these updates throughout the summer, so please stand and watch them. And if you have any questions, as always, we want to thank Arlene Verdi for what she's done to create this show today. She works behind the scenes tirelessly to make all this happen for us. If you have any questions or any complaints, call Arlene. If you want to tell us how wonderful things are, call me. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful summer holiday and enjoy.